I got a signal to go along that was this candle right here. And while I was filming this, my computer died. So I'm going to re-record this part of it. Now I got the signal. This was an equilibrium long trade and my stop loss was placed right underneath the channel here. And my take profit is up at this upper channel. Now it's better than 1-to-1, which is perfect. Now, as this trade progresses, I'm going to be able to manage my stop loss, reducing the risk for every candle that goes in my favor. So I'm going to do that. But for now, I'm going to put the video on pause. And when I get an opportunity to manage this trade, I will be back. This trade is coming along nice, and I'm going to move my stop. So I've reduced the risk more than half, and we are marching nice and strong towards our take profit. Now we are at an element or an area that can provide a little bit of resistance, and that's okay. We understand that that's the case. The indicator below tells me that we are looking to see that the price is going to get all the way to the top here, to the top channel. So I have no fear. So I'm going to put the video back on pause, and hopefully this next candle or the next candle after that will get to our take profit and we'll record that. That is the hope here. Sometimes though, it just smashes through these take profit levels. But either way, I'm going to come back and we will continue with this trade. Another opportunity to move my stop, this time to just under break even. So the risk has been reduced substantially. So a loss here is not even really going to amount to much at all. A couple pips of the next win will recoup any loss that I potentially get here. Again, I'll put the video back on pause and I will be back shortly. A little wobble in the price, but that is okay. Our stop loss was well underneath. Now that we've moved back up a little bit, I get to move my stop loss into profit. So I'm going to lock in a little bit here. And no matter what happens at this point, I cannot lose any money. I'm going to make money either way. I'm going to make money if we hit our take profit. I'm going to make money if we hit our stop loss. This is an awesome trade. It's working out really well. And at this point, I cannot lose any money. I'm in what's called a free trade. Just right now, we were taken out in profit. The US dollar Japanese yen trade just like 3 seconds ago nailed our take profit. This was a nice trade. And we did get a little bit of a pullback and a wobble in here, but our stop loss was safe. So we didn't risk getting stopped out prematurely. We did get our take profit hit. This was a nice trade. Let's take a really quick look and see what we did on this one. So on this one, just isolate that a bit here. We've got the US dollar Japanese yen. That's this trade here. This was an equilibrium long trade and it kind of wiggled its way, but it did go our way and it didn't really go against us at any point. It did have its wobble and that's normal. The market does kind of go back and forth a little bit. We did wobble back and forth. Stop loss was never in any danger. And on this one, we made $1,000. We made $1,032.16. And that was over the course of just over an hour. We have several candles here. And that's good for an hour's worth of work. So $1,000 equilibrium long trade. This is an area where we know the market is likely going to take off. And we really did take advantage of this. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in another live trade video. I've got a signal to go short. I will do that. This is the US dollar Canadian dollar. Entry has happened. Stop loss is placed. Take profit is also placed. All right, now when this take profit gets hit, price is going to have to drop below by about 2 pips or so. So the market has to get underneath this level. As this trade progresses, I'm going to manage it. I want to reduce the risk on this. So I'm going to put the video on pause, and when I get an opportunity to do that, I will come back. See you in just a moment. We're doing okay with this one. This is the US dollar Canadian dollar. Now I'm going to manage my trade a little bit. It's not going to be a lot, because I want to make sure I leave room for the spread in here. So I've reduced the risk on this trade. Now it looks closer to a 2-to-1 reward to risk on this. As this trade progresses, I'm going to continue to manage the trade in this manner. So I'm going to put the video back on pause and I shall return in just a moment. This trade pulled back a little bit, but it's resumed its market direction. I'm going to just take a quick look and see where about 2 pips is. All right, so this is where I'm going to put my stop loss. So I'm reducing the risk quite a bit on this trade. Now, in order for this trade to exit, for this short to win, I need to move about 2 pips below this level here. So it'll be just above this red line. So we need the market to get, it'll seem like a long ways below, but that's because of the smaller time frame. There's a 5-minute time frame. On a 1 hour, 4 hour, you wouldn't hardly even notice that space. But because it is a smaller time frame, it's going to appear to move below a little bit further. So 2 pips below and we'll be out of this trade. We've reduced the risk substantially. So no matter what happens, if we win, awesome. If we lose, the loss is going to be quite small. All right, I'll put the video back on pause and I will come back in just a moment. Well, we got the move we were looking for. The market pushed itself down and took us out of this trade. This was an equilibrium short. Let's take a look and see some numbers here. We'll put the arrows on the chart and take a quick look at the profit that we made on this one. Not a huge trade, $668.41. Now it's a good day. It's a good day. I never made this much printing t-shirts. $668.41. And this happened in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So 45 minutes. Nice. That's a good profit in 45 minutes worth of not that hard work. Now we got into this trade here. This was an equilibrium short trade and the market moved our favor. And then it did pull back a little bit. Now that's normal. That's going to happen from time to time. We'd like to see that the market just takes one candle, goes through a take profit, but that very rarely happens. It does happen, but it's rare. This is more realistic. The market pulled back and then continued on its way. And finally it did take us out at our take profit. The risk was reduced. So we have a very small stop and a much bigger take profit. Well played. Didn't go really far. It's a smaller time frame, so we weren't looking for really big pips on this one. But we still ended up with $668.41. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in another live trade video. I've got a reset short trade. Now we got a little skip, a little tiny gap here, but I'm going to get into this anyways. So we are short a reset trade. Now my stop loss will jump up here. My take profit will go down here. Now we're looking at 1-to-1 on the reset trade. Market has used an awful lot of momentum to get where it has gotten to. So we're not going to expect it to move a whole lot further. So we're in this reset. And as this trade progresses, I will manage it. But until I get to do that, I'll put the video on pause and I'll be back shortly. This one is coming along nice and I get a chance to manage this trade. Now I'm going to do that right here. Now I'm going to reduce the risk on this one by half. So there is half the amount of risk and double the reward. Is that what that works out to? So we've got half the risk. If I was risking 2% on the trade, now I'm risking 1%. So if I do lose this, it's going to be smaller than what I had initially put on the table. Now, it looks like the price had hit this line, and it did. The price hit my exit line, but it needs to get beyond that line by the spread. Because this is a sell trade, it needs to get lower than this line by the spread. And we have to consider that with our stop loss as well. Price needs to get below the stop loss by the spread amount before it takes us out. So price isn't going to touch the line itself. It's going to get below it by the spread amount. And in this case, it'll be about 2 pips. I think when the trade was taken, it was 1.8 pips. So if we get to about 2 pips below the exit line, Either way, the price has to be below the exit line by the spread amount to be taken out, which is why we like to add the spread amount to our stop loss when we place it. Put your stop loss where you want it, and then add the spread amount. All right, little lesson there. This is why we weren't taken out here. So price needs to get just a little bit lower than it did on this one candle before we get taken out of the trade. I've got no worries about that. I've got my take profit put exactly where I want it, and market is going to take us out. I am confident of that. If it doesn't, my stop has been reduced, so the damage for a losing trade is going to be minimal. We were taken out just right now. We jumped below and our take profit was hit. The stop loss, well placed. The take profit, well placed. This trade worked out nicely. This was a reset short trade. And because the market moved, there was a little bit less momentum. We don't want to assume that the market is going to always deliver for us. So we want to know when is the time that the market has less momentum, when's the time when it has most momentum. And this was a reset trade. So we know that the momentum isn't in full swing. So we're not going for the big targets with this one. But this one worked out really, really well. Let's take a quick look and see what we did here. I'll put the arrows on the chart and take a look at what we made on this one. So this is the reset. Now I'm going to zoom in here just a bit. I'm going to widen it a little bit just so we can see. All right, so we got the reset short. This was the signal to go short. We got our 1-to-1. It was a beautiful trade. On this one, we made $975. We didn't make quite as much as we do with maybe an equilibrium trade, simply because, again, we're not looking for some super follow through. We know at this point where the market is likely to really go strong and where it's likely to maybe not go quite as hard. And this is the one that's not going to give us a lot of market movement, but we know exactly what to expect. All right, a reset trade, $975. Thanks for watching this video. I'll see you in another live trade video.